Hey guys, it's Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all things polygel and dual forms. So this video is going to be loaded with information, so I am going to be providing timestamps for you so you can choose whatever you're most interested in. I'm going to be thoroughly talking about what polygel is, what dual forms are, how they're different from other methods of polygel extension, the process of using dual forms, do's and don'ts, the gel polish design I'm going to do at the end, and I will also be giving a checklist for things to look for if you are a first-time polygel buyer for the kit that you purchase. Like I said, this video is going to have a lot of information in it. If you are brand new at polygel, I recommend watching this whole video because this is going to be a one-stop shop for all the information you need to know about polygel and dual forms. And if you're not so brand new to polygel, you might just want to skip to the part where I talk about dual forms and the tips and tricks. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so let's talk about what polygel is. Polygel is a hybrid nail extension product. It's fairly new. It's only been on the market for about 3 or 4 years, and it's made from a mixture of acrylic powder and hard gel. So it's great for beginners because it takes the best parts about acrylic and the best parts about hard gel and puts it together into one product. So one reason it's great is because the consistency is way more manageable for beginners than acrylic or hard gel. Acrylic and hard gel both tend to be a little bit on the runnier side before they are cured, whereas polygel is thick and stiff. And believe it or not, because this product is thicker and stiffer, you're able to put it where you want it to be, whereas a runnier consistency kind of has a mind of its own and you have to catch it as it runs and guide it. So like I said, the first thing that makes it great for beginners is the consistency. Second thing that makes it great for beginners is the way that it cures. Curing is the process of the nail extension product hardening, which it has to in order for it to last. So think of it as nail polish going from wet to dry. Your nail extension product has to go from soft and movable to hard and strong. And once it becomes hardened, it is cured. And as it is hardening, it's curing. So there's some nail vocabulary for you. Because polygel is a gel product, it cures under the light. So you do have to have an LED light in order to use polygel. So acrylic actually begins curing the second you mix the powder and liquid together. So you have a time limit, whereas polygel and hard gel don't cure until it's exposed to LED light. So this makes it so that there's no time limit and you can work as slow as you need to or as fast as you want to. So polygel is great because the acrylic in it makes it so the consistency is thicker and easier to use, and the hard gel in it makes it so that there's not a time limit like there is with acrylic and you can cure it whenever you're ready. So here I have some examples of polygel. It typically comes in a tube like this. The tube is just about always black because it prevents light from getting through the packaging. That would make the product inside the tube harden and impossible to use. So you always have to be sure to keep unused product away from LED and UV lights. But they come in different colors, from clear to natural pinks to tan and brown shades to glitter colors to temperature changing and every color of the rainbow. So that is a crash course on polygel. Now with polygel, there's always the option to just use it on your natural nails and not extend the length of your natural nails. This is called doing an overlay. You're only laying product over your natural nail. When you're wanting to extend length, there are 3 ways to do it. So there's tips, paper forms, and dual forms. So most are probably familiar with tips. You would glue this to the tip of your natural nail, and then you would apply your product over top of your nail and the fake nail to blend it together and make it nice and strong. The same thing is done with forms, where it's built on top of the nail, but the form actually is placed underneath your natural nail, and then product is built on top of that. From the cuticle down to however long you want the nail to be. It would be placed on like this, and then once the product is built on top of the form gets removed. The difference between these two is that the tips are pre-sized, so you just get what you get, and with forms, you can kind of custom size the nail to features of your natural nail, but it's similar because you build the nail over top of these products to make the nail longer. So now let's talk about dual forms. So this is what a dual form looks like. It's made of plastic and it's hollow on one side. When you're using dual forms, you pick out the right size for your fingernail, and then after you're done prepping your nail, you would apply your product inside the well of this nail, and as it's still wet, you would press it onto your natural nail and you would cure it like this under the lamp, and afterwards you would pop this off. The nail that you formed in here would now be adhered to your natural nail. So dual forms are the best method for DIYers and beginners because it removes the hardest steps from forming a fake nail. There's a specific structure that needs to be made in order for long nails to not break. So the structure is that it is thin at the cuticle, thick in the middle, and thinner towards the tip. The thickest point of the nail is in the middle. That's called the apex. And you make the middle thick because that is where the nail is most likely to break. So when it's thicker in those areas, it's more durable to any pressure that could cause it to break. Oh, and when you pop this form off, the nail is completely smooth on the top, so it might also save you time in filing as well because the top is already very smooth. Although this is the best method and maybe the easiest method for at-home nails, there is still a technique and a learning curve when you're using dual forms. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the step-by-step process of using dual forms. So the first thing I like to do is to size them out. I like to do this before I do any prep or anything to my nail. I have my dual forms sized out and I just have them at the top. The next thing I like to do is to get everything out. The lamp, the polygel, the brush, the slip solution, the prepping products. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I have my lamp. I'm gonna be using this clear Macart polygel. It's from the Macart and Emily Susanna collaboration kit. It's my Macart brush. Every brush usually comes with a brush side and a spatula side. Some kits provide slip solution. If they don't, you can just use alcohol. I have 91% rubbing alcohol in this container. And now I'm going to get out my prepping products. I have a nail file, a dehydrator, a primer, and a base coat. As I go through the prep, I will tell you what things are absolutely necessary and what things are optional. Okay, so the first step when you're prepping your nails is if you want to make some changes to your natural nail shape and length, you can go ahead and use some nail clippers and a file to fix up the shape. I'm actually okay with my shape. So then the next thing I do is push back my cuticles. I just have a cuticle pusher. And the other side should have some type of scraping tool that can be used to scrape up any of the dead cuticle on the nail plate. I prepped my cuticles last night, so I don't have any cuticle to scrape up. The next step is going to be to remove the shine from your natural nails. You can use a nail file for this, any nail file you have. Polygel adheres to a dry surface much better than to a shiny surface, and it also adheres better when the nail has some scratches in it. You don't have to be rough with this because you don't want to destroy your natural nails. And really make sure you get around that cuticle. That's a very important area that you don't want to miss. And then you can wipe the dust away. So the next step is pretty important. You want to dehydrate the natural nail. If you have a nail dehydrator, you can go ahead and use that. If you don't, alcohol is perfectly fine. The next step is to prime the natural nail. I have my Young Nails Protein Bond. Now this step is not absolutely necessary. Your nails can last as long as you prep everything else the right way. And if you're experiencing your polygel nails popping off, I would also invest in a primer. When you use primer, it only goes on the natural nail. You don't want to get this on your skin. The next step is to base coat. This step's not optional. This is also going to help adhere the product to your natural nail. A thin layer will be fine. And you can cure this. You can do all this prepping stuff to all 5 fingers at once. I just am doing one to demonstrate. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my fingers. I'm going to file, dehydrate, prime, and base coat. All right, so here's what they're looking like. They are looking a little bit crusty, but that's okay. That can get fixed with cuticle oil later. So I'm going to get the form from my pointer finger. I'm gonna get my Polygel, my slip solution, and my brush ready. So you would place a bead of product inside of the form. You would get your brush wet in slip solution. Polygel can be sticky without slip solution. And we are going to press this into the form. Depending on how long you want your nail will depend on how high up you go. I prefer longer nails and will be filling up this whole thing. I'm gonna add a little bit more just because I didn't have enough. When it comes to dual forms, that is a pretty difficult thing to learning how much polygel you need for a nail, but practice makes perfect with that. I have no tips for how to guess the right amount of product that you need, unfortunately. Now that the form is all filled up, I like to check the other side just to make sure that I didn't miss a spot. There's a little bit of a gap right there. I'm gonna pull some product over there. I think that's all good. So now the next step is to have your lamp ready. Sometimes people have a difficult time placing this on the right way and then putting your hand in the lamp, so it's easier when you have it ready. I'm going to bring it all the way down to the cuticle and I'm going to lightly press. I can kind of tell where the product is touching my nail. You can watch it kind of fill up. I'm going to press until I see it go all the way to the tip of my natural nail. Sometimes you can just leave it there and it won't move. Sometimes it will move, but I'm just going to clean up anything that spilled out on the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and cure this. Make sure it's straight before, because once it's in there, it's not moving. All right, so here's what it looks like. And now there's some little tabs on the side and you can use those to just wiggle it back and forth. And at some point this should pop off. Yep, pops right off and now you have a nail. Because of the way the dual form is shaped, it already has that structure that I need for this nail to last a long time. It's thin at the cuticle, it gets thicker towards the middle, and then it gets thinner towards the end. So you would do this to all your nails, and once you're done, you're going to take some alcohol or your slip solution and you're going to clean the top and the underside of this nail. And then it's time to file. So you can file this into any shape that you want. You want to file any bumps, anything that's not smooth. You want to make sure that the cuticle area is flushed. That just means that it goes into the natural nail nicely. It's thin down there. That is important because it prevents lifting and it also makes it so that when your nails grow out, it looks natural. I missed an area right there. I don't know if you can see that, but right on this side. So I'm just going to fix that a little bit by adding a tiny bead. All right, I'm going to cure this. I went ahead and filled it in. Here is the nail. And then you could decorate this nail however you want. You could paint it with nail polish or polygel. You could put glitter on it. You could put rhinestones on it. That is the step-by-step process. I'm gonna go ahead and get into some do's and don'ts, probably on the rest of my fingers. So, first do choose the correct shape of dual form. So, there are two types of dual forms, and you want to pick the best one that fits your natural nail shape. So here I have the dual form that I'm going to be using. This is a curved dual form. As you can see, it has a curve along this edge right here, and the other type is a straight dual form. So you can see it does not have as much of a bend in the curve. Here they are side by side. This is meant to best fit people with curved nail beds, and the straight one is meant to fit those with flat nail beds. You can take your finger and turn it this way and see if it has a curve in it or see if it's flat. So you would just look at it like this. I have a curve in my nail. So I use the curved ones because they fit best. These already aren't custom fit to your nail specifically, so you want to make sure that you're picking the right shape. So another do is choose the correct size form for the nail. I'm going to show you what you should be looking for when you're fitting a tip to your nail. You want to see that it fits from sidewall to sidewall. So your sidewalls are the sides of your nails. I'm sorry, my nail's crusty. You can turn your finger and see that your entire sidewall is covered. And then you can flip it over and you can see that this sidewall is covered as well. Well, if you don't have a form that fits your nail perfectly, I'd rather you go smaller and not larger. It's always easier to go back and add what's needed than to take away what's not needed. Okay, so for the first do not overfill the dual form. Which, like I said, knowing how much product goes in here takes practice, but I'm gonna show you what happens when you overfill a dual form. When you're filling in a dual form, you want to try and keep it on the thinner side. You see how it's kind of like squared off? It's hard to see, oh my goodness. The top is like squared off because of how much product there is, whereas it should just kind of fill the curve. When you do this and you press, you get spillage. So you get product spilling out on the sides, like this. Do try and keep it on the thinner side, and especially thin out the edge of the nail. So here I filled this entire dual form, and what I'm going to do right before I apply it is thin out the sides, the edge. And if that means some of the product has to come off, that's fine. We want a thin cuticle, we want thinner sidewalls. When the edges are thin, there's a less chance of there being spillage. If you guys are still watching at this point, go ahead and comment down below your favorite emoji and let me know what your preferred method of nail extension is. So is it tips, dual forms, or paper forms? So the next one is don't forget to smooth the backside. So I like to hold the front with another finger, turn it over, and smooth this backside in, because it's very hard to file and fix, so you want to do it and let it cure smoothly. Underside's nice and clean, it's nice and straight. I'm gonna cure. The next do is something that I've mentioned already. Do clean the underside of the nail. That is the part that gets sticky, so you want to make sure that you remove that stickiness so that hair, lint, and dust doesn't stick to it. Okay, so the next don't undercure your nails. For this, you have to look in the instruction manual that the brand gives you to see what their curing time is. You don't want to undercure it, because what happens when you undercure is that top layer gets cured, but the bottom layers are not yet hardened and the nail will not last. Okay, so although when you tap it, it might be hardened on the top, it's still very much soft and not durable. The nail shouldn't be able to do this, so you don't want to undercure the nail. As you can see, it's easily ripping off, so don't undercure. Alright, so I redid this nail. I'm going to cure it for a full 60 seconds. Am I the only one that thinks the pop is so satisfying when it pops off your nail? So the last do applies if you are using a colored polygel. So something that has pigment. This is a purple polygel. It's very opaque, which means it has high coverage. It's not clear or see-through. So when you're using a polygel that has a color to it, do cure the top and the bottom of the nail. I just cured the top side. So if this was a color polygel, I would now flip my finger and place it in the lamp. But for clear nails or see-through nails, that is not necessary, the double cure. All right, we have a full set of nails. Obviously, my pointer finger is the only one that is shaped. I'm gonna go ahead and shape up the rest. Next thing I'm gonna do is take a buffer sponge and I'm going to buff up all the nails. All right, so they're all buffed up now. I'm going to go wash my hands just to get all the dust off of my hand, and then we'll come back. I haven't done a black set in a while. So typically the most basic nail kits will come with polygel. Sometimes it's 1 tube, sometimes it's 4 tubes, sometimes it's 6 tubes. But it will come with polygel, a base and a top coat, a brush, dual forms, and a file. So I just pulled one up on my Amazon, and as you can see, this is from the brand, I think it's pronounced AI Brit, but it comes with what I just said. It comes with polygel, dual forms, base and top coat, a brush, and some files. That is the most basic kit. If this is your first time buying polygel, I recommend you find something that has a lamp. And if your budget allows for it, I would say go for a full-size lamp. This is one of the mini lamps that you might see. I recommend getting something that comes with a full-size lamp. I haven't had the best experiences with those mini lamps. I find that they don't always cure my nails all the way. So if your budget allows, maybe get one that comes with a full-size lamp. But a lamp is definitely important if you've never done polygel before. And maybe also look for something that has slip solution with it. So this kit right here has everything that I've just mentioned, all the basic stuff, plus slip solution, plus that full-size lamp. And it never hurts to get something that comes with nail art. You may want to start having a little bit of fun with your nails. If a kit comes with glitter and rhinestones, that might be a plus as well. The first kit that I ever bought didn't have one, and I didn't realize how bad I would want them, and I ended up having to buy them separately later. So, and nail art's great because if you're a beginner, you might need to cover up some mistakes with some nail art. And yeah, you're better off just getting everything all in one. So like I said, you want the most basics, the polygel, however many tubes it comes with, a base and a top coat, a brush, dual forms, a file, a lamp if your budget allows, slip solution, especially if you don't have access to alcohol because of this global issue we're having right now. Maybe something that also includes some nail art. So those are the things that I would definitely recommend you looking for when you are buying your first polygel kit. That is everything that I have for you. I know this video was super loaded, but this can always be a video that you refer back to doing your nails for the first time. Maybe come back and do the process with me to kind of help you get through it. If you ever have a request for a video you want to see, comment down below, let me know. But that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.